Hi, this is Shotgun Tom Kelly, and now that I have your attention, you wanted to be close to him in the dugout during his impressive 15-year Major League career because he was always watching, listening, and looking for an edge. Now, Kurt Bavacqua brings that edge to Dirty Kurt's Dugout, where you can listen, watch, and be a part of the most honest, informative baseball show available today. Now, here's Kurt.
I'm trying to find some information on Jorge Alfaro, who I'm not that familiar with, but he just went Apotaco out in Peoria against the Mariners and put the Padres back on top 4-3 in the seventh inning or sixth inning. So there's good news to report from Peoria, where the Padres are facing their patriarchs in war, I guess you could say, the Seattle Mariners. I don't know why the press is trying to make the Padre Mariner game such a big deal, but just the same, they are. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Kurt Bavacqua, and welcome to Dirty Kurt's Dugout. So speaking of the Padres Mariner game, how about Mackenzie Gore? We've all been waiting for him to come around, and he did it today. Naturally, it's only 2 innings, but good start. Good start. Good way to have command of your fastball with every now and then breaking ball come in. I'll appreciate anybody's comments that's watching the game or anybody that did see the game. I see Terrence is already in. Yeah, I've got some good things to say about your Dodgers today, Terrence. So stay tuned, because it's not often that I say good things about Dodger Blue. But the Padres are up 4-3, first game of the spring. Pitching's really good, with the exception of one pitch to evidently this Seattle Mariner phenom, Rodriguez, where he took Padre pitcher Felipe, I believe it was, for a 3-run home run in the sixth inning and put the Mariners up after the Padre pitching had held the Mariners to practically nothing. Mackenzie Gore was excellent. And then the two guys that came into the game following him did a good job too. So thank you to everybody watching, and special thank yous to Hacienda Casablanca out in El Cajon, and also Tom Drake and our good friends at Lacima Oil and Balboa Chevron, right on the corner of Balboa and Genesee. So if you're in the area, go by and take care of our sponsorship. It'll keep them coming our way. We can keep coming your way, and makes everybody happy. Of course, Hacienda Casablanca, 700 North Johnson in El Cajon. It's as good as it gets there. And how can I forget, Joe? You're good. Producer Joe, you're going to put up.
I totally screwed up. I totally screwed up
it's
on
good.
that one. I admit it.
It's good. I was just going into it, so it was almost perfect. So
play ball.
Go ahead and put up big news this morning. The Padres get Luke Voit from the Yankees. He's going to fill a void on this ball club, at least until Tatis comes back. And for the first couple of months of the season, I'm sure he's going to be given every opportunity to swing the bat for this ball club and possibly spell Hosmer a little bit at first base, because he's going to be there whether you like it or not, folks. When a ball club pays a guy that much money, he's going to be in the lineup and he's going to be out on the field. But Luke Voigt got some serious power, good kid, and probably didn't get the opportunities that he deservingly should have gotten with the New York Yankees, because let's face it, they got a pretty good ball club. And boy, when the Yankees go out and look to get players with that porch in right field, it's not necessarily from the right-hand side. So Luke Voigt joins the Padres, and Mackenzie Gore goes too strong. So these are two good things that come out to kind of contradict the two bad things that came out earlier in the spring with Fernando Tatis Jr. being lost for the first couple of months of the season, and also with Jake Cronenworth being out for a couple of weeks. But it affords opportunities for C.J. Abrams, who started as shortstop today out in Peoria, and also the kid over at second base, Rosario. So we'll see how they do. I'm sure they're going to be given a lot of opportunities, and we'll just see what happens with these players. Wow, look at all the people. Yeah, I love the Dodgers, Tony. That's right. See, we got people watching from Maine, people saying hi to one another. I love it. I love it. That's what we're all about. And don't forget, guys, if you have some comments, shoot them out. We can talk about it. But a couple of things that are happening in baseball, because this show is going to be shortened today. I don't want to take your Friday away. And besides, there's games on we can watch. It's a good thing. I believe the Dodger game's on MLB Network. I'm sure Terrence is watching that game. But there's a couple of things happening in baseball that are at least the owners are making it obvious now. And that is tanking, and also the extra 2 playoff spots that were added per the CBA for this year. I believe a perfect example is the Chris Bryant signing for the Colorado Rockies. They feel like they have a chance to be one of the teams to get into the postseason. They're not going to win the West. Not in the same division as the Dodgers, Giants, and Padres. They should be 4th or 5th in the division, although there's no wager from me this year with betting against the Rockies like I did last year. It cost me about $150 steak dinner when a good friend who will remain unnamed, who is a part of this show, watches it a lot, threw a wager out earlier in the season. It wasn't even late in the season. We're talking about right before the trading deadline, when everything started to fall apart. He goes, I'll bet you the Rockies finished with a better record from today on than the Padres. I went, what are you, crazy? Sure enough, he wasn't crazy. He was not crazy. And the Rockies almost got into the postseason. So maybe the Chris Bryant deal will put him over the top. They get rid of Nolan Arenado last year. He goes to the St. Louis Cardinals. Trevor Story's not going to re-sign. The Colorado Rockies are not going to give him the kind of money he wants. And maybe that's the reason that he hasn't even signed with any club yet. I mean, he turned down the qualifying offer in November of $18.4 million. Maybe that was a mistake. Or maybe Trevor Story is finding out what the free agent market is all about when you get up into the 18 to $20 million a year range. And the wonder in people's minds as to how much of his numbers belongs to Colorado or Coors Field. I know it's unfair. There were talks of Larry Walker, who's now a Hall of Famer. Took him a number of years to get into the Hall of Fame because he played in Colorado. Also played in Montreal. But Matt Whitten says he shouldn't get more than his qualifying offer. Well, that's probably what they're finding out. And when I say they, I'm talking about Trevor Story and his agent or agency, whatever the case may be. I'm sure it's agency. But, you know, I mean, guys play their whole career to become a free agent. That's what it's all about. There's other guys that are out there that are finding out that free agency is a little shaky in this day and age, unless you're a top guy. You know, Josh Donaldson went from the Twins to the Yankees. Rizzo re-signed with the Yankees. Yankees got all the money. Eddie Rosario went back with the Braves, last year's NLCS most valuable player. Chris Taylor stays with the Dodgers, 4 years for $60 million. He's got to be an everyday guy for $20 million a year. Kershaw re-signs with the Dodgers. Yeah, hold tight, Trevor. I mean, Terrence. I'm thinking of Trevor's Story. For $17 million, Kyle Schwarber goes to the Phillies for $79 million, and Andrew McCutchen signed with the Brewers. Now, I have to tell you, I watched two press conferences today. One of them was Chris Bryant's being introduced by the Colorado Rockies, and the other was Freddie Freeman. And I had to smile. I had to smile because of the smile on Freddie Freeman's face and because of how damn good he looked in the Dodger uniform. I mean, when he stood up and was introduced by Andrew Friedman, the president of the Dodgers, and put on the number 5, which was vacated when Corey Seager left. Boy, he looked good. I mean, Freddie probably looked good in any uniform, but he looked good. That's going to be a club to behold this year. Do I think there's going to be a huge difference between last year and this year? I don't think it's going to be huge. Because Seager left, Freeman steps in, but you got to remember something. These guys have to put up the numbers. And when you look at that lineup, which everybody has posted, by the way, in the last 3 or 4 days, I'm tired of seeing the Dodger lineup for opening day that everybody thinks it's going to be. But you pretty much know that it's going to be Mookie, Trey Turner, and Freddie Freeman. That's probably the best 3 guys in baseball. 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Will Smith and Max Muncy and Chris Taylor and potentially Cody Bellinger, if he can bounce back from a crazy injury that he sustained after hitting a home run and celebrating. But those guys don't scare me. Justin Turner. Not like the top three guys do. So they're going to get their knocks, know what's going to happen. There's Justin telling Freddie he'd look good in a Dodger uniform. No, he was right. He was right. So the Padres got Luke Voit. The fact that Mackenzie Gore threw well today ought to send a lot of smiles. Jorge Alfaro goes deep and puts the Padres up. So as we speak, they have a lead in Peoria. First game of the spring. Baseball is back. Don't we all love it? Don't you love it when you can turn on your TV and watch a baseball game? Or know that it's open to drive to Arizona, to jump on a flight, and go over to Arizona and watch a couple of baseball games. That's a great feeling. And I know spring training's cut short this year, but take advantage of it if you can. Season starts down at Petco Park on April 14th. The games that were originally called off by the commissioner, the first two series of the year, will be made up as parts of a doubleheaders, and also at the end of the year. I received a confidential copy of the finished CBA for agent's eyes only, MLBPA, sent it out, and we're going to go over that in its points and the stuff that isn't that obvious and we haven't heard about. We're going to go over the next show. And I'm thinking that our next show, what do you think, Joe? Next Wednesday? I got to check with producer Joe about everything because.
I'm in.
In for Wednesday?
Yep.
All right. You heard it, folks. Live right here. We're going to do a show next Wednesday somewhere in the 3:15 to 3:30 range, probably 3:30. And Matt, do I like the Luke Voit trade? Well, I like it just because he fills a void that we have right now with Tatis. And I'm not saying he can take over at shortstop, but I'm talking about potentially hitting the ball out of the ballpark. He's a DH kind of hitter, but he can play a little first base. And we'll see what happens. If he swings the bat well, when Tatis comes back, he might stay here. It opens up even more so for a Hosmer deal. If he starts swinging the bat, teams are interested in acquiring Hosmer possibly around the trade deadline, and Tatis comes back and everything is looking hunky-dory there, then it gives A.J. Preller in the Padre front office a little leeway to do things. So an interesting input from Matt out there. The overall pitching staff of the San Diego Padres may be deeper than the Dodgers, especially since the Dodgers lost Max Scherzer, Joe Kelly, and the fact that both Clayton Kershaw and Kenley Jansen are a year older, not better. Did Kenley even re-sign with the Dodgers yet? I think Kenley Jansen's still a free agent, but I might be wrong. I mean, with everything that went on in the last week, I might have missed it, or it could have happened today. I don't know, but we will see. Terrence Morgan, who knows, says no on Kenley Jansen signing with the Dodgers. So we know that's not there. We will see you. We will see you next Wednesday at 3:30 right here. We'll go over the new CBA, and I'm not talking about the obvious stuff that we all read about on a daily basis while it was being argued back and forth between the owners and the Players Association, and we were all frustrated. I'm talking about stuff that fell between the cracks, and that was stuff that wasn't obvious to the regular fan like us. So I'm going to have all that for you on Wednesday. We've got a lot to talk about. Again, between now and Wednesday, if you want the greatest Mexican food in the world, go to Hacienda Casablanca out in El Cajon, 700 North Johnson. And if you want the best gas in the world, stop by Lacima Oil Company's Balboa Chevron. Tom Drake, good friend of ours, right on the corner of Balboa in Genesee, your neighborhood Chevron dealers. Until next week, for producer Joe, this is Kurt Bavacqua. Thank you for watching Dirty Kurt's Dugout, as it says right there. We'll talk to you next week, folks. Have a great, great weekend.